All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Talent Show, where you will meet the people that power TTEC. I am Rebecca, and I will be your host for today's show. We're glad that you are here joining us for today's episode. Thank you so much. We know there's many things that you could be doing. So if you've joined us before, welcome back. If you're stopping in for the first time, we're happy that you're here. Today, we have a really important discussion about a very vital topic, which is workplace health and safety. As we gear up for the World Day of Safety and Health at Work, we want to bring a discussion that shares how each one of us and collectively are responsible for creating a safe environment for all of us and for ourselves. In the hustle and bustle of our daily lives, this may not be a topic that is top of mind. However, it could make all the difference in someone's life. As one of our colleagues in Greece, Konstantinos, recently shared on his LinkedIn posts, preparation today could prevent a tragedy tomorrow. So it's a pretty amazing discussion that we're going to have today. And again, we're glad that you're here. Please do drop in the chat where you're joining us from around the world. We love to see our TTEC community grow, and we'll be looking to you throughout today's conversation. So thank you so much once again for being here. So our guest today is Mikey Ebert, and she has been a very integral part of my TTEC journey here and countless others, as she is a 25-year veteran. That's right. She has grown her career, which we're going to hear all about from her, through various roles. And while she joined us a couple years ago to help us kick off Customer Service Week, she's back today to share how her role has evolved and why it's important to her to champion workplace safety. So thank you so much once again, everyone, for being here. And let's meet Mikey.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, Mikey, how are you doing today?
I'm great. Rebecca, how about yourself?
Good. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Mikey. As you know, we've had many discussions, especially over recent months. This is a topic that is incredibly important. It's near and dear to my heart. We'll get probably a little emotional here in a little bit, but I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to join us and share while this is important to each of us. So thank you again for being here.
Yeah, of course.
As we shared, you are a 25-year veteran. You've grown up with TTEC, right? So could you share a bit about your origin story? How'd you get started here at TTEC?
Yeah. So, well, I started back in 2000, and I was actually hired in as a supervisor or team leader in our Morgantown, West Virginia site that was just opening. So I had the opportunity to come in that leadership role, having had some previous leadership experience, and really, just had the opportunity to continue to grow with TTEC. For a large part in that Morgantown location, I was a supervisor for a couple years, moved into a manager role. I then went into a senior manager role, and from there I had a really unique experience where the leadership positions were kind of dual role at the time, and I helped support not only operations, but I also supported our human capital and talent acquisition team. So I really got to learn a lot about the business that way. I was then promoted into a director position, and I was in charge of the Morgantown site for close to 14 years. And in 2019, I was promoted into an executive director role, and I had an amazing opportunity for those 4 years to really oversee all of the sites that we had in North America, as well as Latin America and South America. So it was an amazing opportunity that I had over that time. And then most recently in August of last year, had this really awesome opportunity to kind of, venture into a different area and learn something new. So the opportunity was to move into a senior advisor role for health and safety globally. So It was my first opportunity to really expand beyond, North America and LATAM, and help support TTEC from a global perspective. And it was a really great opportunity for me to be able to build on some of the existing processes that we had from a health and safety perspective across the countries, but create a health and safety program that was consistent, and some standards, global standards across all of the different countries and enterprises that we have within TTEC.
That is quite the journey, Mikey. And you're right that all these opportunities just exposed you to so many aspects of the business. And now the evolution of your role into making an even larger impact around the globe as TTEC has grown so much since your early days in Morgantown. So congratulations on the evolution of your role.
Thank you.
Just wanted to give a shout out to some of the people in the chat real quick. Aika, welcome back. She is tuning in from the Philippines. Monique says, let's go, Mikey. Dora says, this topic speaks to her heart. And Joshua, we'll talk more about jobs later today, but he would like to join TTEC South Africa. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. So, Mikey, could you share with us a little bit about why is this role important to you before we get into some upcoming celebrations and things we have going on around here?
Yeah, sure. I the bottom line for me is that no matter what role that we're in, when you think about our employees, they are by far the most valuable resource that our company has. And so I think one of the most important things that we can do for our employees is to make sure that they have a safe work environment that they can go to and work from each and every day.
Yeah, that's really the crux of it all, right?
Yep.
So physical and psychological safety is so important to the employee experience. So, all right. So upcoming April 28th is World Day of Health and Safety at Work. So could you tell us a little bit about that and how we're going to celebrate it here at TTEC?
Yeah, sure. So it's a relatively new, what I would say new, national holiday. Back in 2003, the International Labor Organization decided to dedicate and celebrate, World Day for Safety and Health at Work. And as you mentioned, every April 28th, we celebrate it. And it's really an opportunity to encourage and emphasize the need to continuously create that safe and healthy culture, and help reduce work-related injuries and accidents for every worker and employee. Um, the key message, and I think focus around World Day for Safety at Work, is that safety lies with everyone involved. It doesn't matter whether you're top management, you're a supervisor, a frontline employee. The day really is there to help kind of remind everyone that having a safe workplace is everybody's responsibility. And while you may not necessarily be the person implementing a training or, cleaning up a wet floor, which, causes slips, trips, and falls, we do have that responsibility that if you see something, say something, I guess would be my main, kind of tagline. By letting somebody know that there's an unsafe work condition possibly, so that we can quickly take action and remediate that, you're helping prevent other incidents or accidents and risk to other employees. So, I think that's the biggest thing with World Day of Safety, is just kind of that reminder, hey, safety is everybody's responsibility. And, if you see something, say something.
Yeah, and I think we talk a lot about our values too, and the act as one leads right into that. If, like you said, if you see something, say something, because it could help yourself or a colleague.
That's right. That's right. So you asked how we were going to celebrate.
Yeah.
So this is the first time we're really, doing a celebration, with me in this role. And one of the things that we're going to do is some recognition. I allocated some budget to each of our sites globally to do some appreciation and recognition. We have, which we'll talk a little bit here later, a number of employees that are trained and certified in first aid, CPR, AED. So those responders we have. Fire wardens, evacuation brigade members, health and safety officers. So each site is going to do something special, snacks, luncheon, some form of recognition for all of those volunteers. This is on top of their normal responsibilities. They volunteered to help and be part of that safety culture within TTEC. And so we're going to do some recognition appreciation for those volunteers. And then the other fun thing we're going to do is I created a Kahoot safety game. And so everybody globally is going to have the opportunity to play the game. We're going to give away some prizes for those that do the best with the game. But as they go through it, they're going to have an opportunity to really, learn some things about safety in the workplace at the same time they have some fun.
Well, an
So
advanced
that's kind of
shout
what we
out.
have planned for this year.
Oh, awesome. Yes, thank you. And like you said, an inaugural year for us to celebrate. So it's great and thank you in advance to all those people that you just mentioned who are going above and beyond volunteering to help their fellow colleagues and their site. So big shout out to all those people that you'll be recognizing that day. And I had a little sneak peek of that quiz. I learned a lot, Mikey, so I know everyone else will too.
Cool.
Could you share with us some of the recent initiatives that you're most proud of? And everyone, in a couple minutes here, we're going to be talking about how what Mikey and the team have been putting into place has made a difference in someone's life or death situation. So this is a really, really important what Mikey's about to share over the next couple of minutes. So I'm glad that you're all tuning in to learn more about it.
Yeah. So, well, when you think about basic safety in the workplace, obviously one of the first things we can do is make sure that, we're providing the right workstations, they're ergonomically correct. You have the right chairs, desk, equipment. And I think we've always done a good job of having that covered in place for our employees. But, I wanted to kind of go beyond, what I would consider some of the basics or what some people might consider the basics. And so, one of the very first things that I did was implemented a crisis management training for our leaders in our bricks and mortar sites to really kind of arm them with the skills and the knowledge of how to respond in a crisis situation, something like, God forbid, an active shooter or something like that. We want to make sure that we're raising the awareness, ensuring that everyone feels prepared and understands how to respond. So that's an annual training that the leaders go through. Currently, that is in just a couple of our countries in the U.S. As well as the Philippines, and we're looking to expand that. And then globally, we implemented an online training for all of our employees working on site to help give them some awareness and preparedness around that topic. The second thing we did was we launched a monthly injury prevention campaign to really give our employees some kind of tips and tricks around preventing what we see as some of the most frequent incidences within our workspace, which would include repetitive motion, how your desktop is set up, how you're using your mouse and those types of things, as well as slips, trips, and falls. So every month there's a different message. Some of them have videos and little exercises that can help you, stay prepared and stay healthy. The other thing, which doesn't really necessarily impact the majority of our employees, but we do have shipping depots around the globe in several of our countries where those logistics team members help ship out the computer equipment to the locations as well as to individuals working from home. And so we implemented some things to really help increase the safety for those team members. We've implemented it's about 5 hours worth of warehouse safety training. We implemented some eye wash stations, and those are just a couple of things that we've done there, but continuing to make sure that they have a good environment. And then probably most recent and really the biggest initiative that we've implemented is we implemented and installed first aid kits and AED equipment in every single one of our locations globally. Um, some of the locations did have like a single first aid kit or a single AED machine. But we set a standard within our company that there should be those should be located on every single floor that we have. And the reason behind that is AEDs need to be accessible very quickly, no more than 2 to 3 minutes. You should be able to go to get the AED and get back to somebody that is having a medical emergency. And the reason for that is every minute that goes by reduces that person's chance of survival by 10%. So you can understand how important it is to quickly get that. So we wanted to make sure that the equipment was right there for them. And then in addition to that, we wanted to make sure that we had team members and responders that were trained. And so in every one of our sites, we have approximately 10% of the staff trained and certified first aid responders that cover all of our hours of operation. And so we now have over 1,100 of our on-site employees trained and certified responders globally. So I'm really, really excited about the work that we're doing there.
That is so amazing, Mikey, to have that many people, like you said, they're volunteering, they're going above and beyond, and hopefully they don't have to ever use the certifications that they have, and yet they're prepared in the moment if they do need to do that. Ika says in the chat, thank you. This is a fantastic opportunity for us here at TTEC. It will really help raise awareness about our workplace and all the great things that we're doing here. And on that note of all the things that you've been working with the teams across the globe, we had a situation recently, and I thank you so much for creating awareness around it for me so that I could be a part of a recent celebration of life ceremony. Could you tell us about the situation that happened in Springfield recently, and more about the story of the life-saving team that came together?
Yes,
I think
absolutely.
Your dog wants in on the situation.
Yeah, Faith wants to talk a little bit too. Sorry about that. Yeah, so as you mentioned, you train people and you hope that you never have to use the skills and having the equipment there. Well, late last fall, we had a situation where one of our team members did have a medical emergency. She stopped breathing, turning blue. And the really crazy thing about the situation is that her emergency happened just 2 weeks after we installed the AED equipment in our Springfield location. And so, as you can imagine, rather than having a celebration of life, we could have been, having a different gathering. But the training hadn't even been done yet. But despite that, we had a group of team members there. They immediately jumped in. They took action. Our security guard started CPR, and our site leader, she ran and got the AED machine, attached it to the employee that was having the emergency. And by the time the EMT had arrived, the survivor was breathing. And I said survivor was breathing again. They commended the team there for just reacting so quickly, administering CPR, getting the AED unit and putting it on. And then when the employee was taken to the emergency room, the doctor told her that, had we not used that AED equipment on her, that she wouldn't be here today. And so it just, the way that team came together and did what they needed to do to save, ultimately a family member, because we're all family, was just incredible. And so last month, Cintas, who in the U.S. is who we partner with to get the equipment. They hosted a Heroes for Life ceremony. I had the opportunity to go there and be there. It was a great recognition and celebration of our survivors' life, and what each and every one of the responders did to really kind of jump in and assist. And of course, they recognize TTEC for investing in the equipment and the training programs that we implemented. And the other amazing thing with our partner with Cintas is they kind of pay it forward. They donated an AED to the nonprofit organization of the survivor's choice. So she loves children. She selected the Ronald McDonald House locally in Springfield. And so she was there. She was able to thank all of the responders, and she presented with the Ronald McDonald House team members with a free AED. So it was just something I'll never forget. The situation itself and the outcome and the ceremony and just all the love and everything that, you could tell the team had for each other, and just what amazing work that they each did to save their coworker.
Yeah, it's such an amazing, meaningful ceremony, and for that team to have had the presence of mind, and the pure spirit and resilience to go and get the AED that had literally just been there, not for very long, is really, really fantastic. And that's why everyone who's listening in today, you can make a difference even in a situation where, if we're prepared and we have that presence of mind. And Mike, I know you've heard me say this many times. I have been on a team where I didn't have that opportunity to have a celebration of life in a former company. We didn't have access to that AED. And so it was even more emotional for me to be involved in that Cintas celebration, because I knew the difference, like you said, that 2 minutes can make. So really, while this is a solemn topic, it's really an uplifting topic that the team came together and could help their colleague.
That's right.
So, right. Everyone, as we're getting ready to wrap up, we do have a question over to you. Also, just wanted to say real quick, hello to Mohammed joining us from Egypt. And we also had Alexandra joining us from Brazil, and Sonia joining us from Brazil. Hello to Gil Gaspar as well. We're glad that you're all here, and thank you so much for joining us. So we have a question to you as we wrap up with our guest, Mikey, today. We'd like to know if there has been a situation where you had to jump in, either through quick work to help make a difference in someone's life. We'd love to hear your stories as well. So as we wrap up, and again, Mike, thank you so much for your time today. What are maybe some of those tips that we could take into our life, whether we're at home or at a site, to just make sure that we're a little more safe every day?
Yeah, I thought about this, and there's so many things that I could say, but I think one of the most important things, and you mentioned it, that anybody can make a difference. And AEDs, as I mentioned, we have them in all of our TTEC locations, but outside of work, I'm sure if you look around, you might not have noticed it, but most places you go, and they're popping up more and more places, you're going to see these AED equipment. What I would say is don't be afraid to help someone out in need if you see that. The equipment is one it will walk you through what to do. It literally talks to you and tells you what to do. You don't have to be trained to use it. But the other thing that's important to know is that an AED will not shock the person unless it's needed. So, if you put the pads on and you press a button, the equipment's going to do monitoring, and it's going to determine if a shock is needed or not. So don't feel like, oh my gosh, I'm going to put that on and shock somebody and end up hurting them. It won't shock them if they don't need it. So that's probably one of my most important things and tips and awareness. And then I'm just going to kind of close out with where I started, that safety is everybody's responsibility, regardless of your role within the organization. If you see something, say something. Help us make sure that our workstation and our workplace is safe, and prevent injury and accidents for everyone. So that's probably my two biggest ones.
Thank you so much. That creating that awareness for each of us. I know I learn something new from you every time, Mikey. I look forward to celebrating in April 28th. And it's something that is an active part of our everyday here at TTEC, alongside you and your teammates and your operation partners around the world who are making this a priority for our employee experience. Just real quick before we go, Larissa is joining us from Pakistan. Thank you so much for joining us. And Monique says, even as someone who works from home, I always make a point to take regular breaks, keep my workspace clutter-free, and stay mindful of ergonomics. Safety starts with awareness, no matter where we work. So I think, Mikey, I think you've got a fan in Monique over in the chat, which is great. Well, Mikey, thank you so much for sharing your time here with us today. And hopefully we'll see you back for maybe a three-peat on the talent show again someday.
Third time's a charm.
That's right.